Everything that needs to be said has already been said. But since no one was listening, everything must be said again. André Paul Guillaume Gide, November 22, 1869 – February 19, 1951, was a French author whose writings span a wide variety of styles and topics. He was awarded the 1947 Nobel Prize in Literature. Gide's career ranged from his beginnings in the symbolist movement to criticizing imperialism between the two world wars. The author of more than 50 books, he was described in his obituary in the New York Times as France's greatest contemporary man of letters and judged the greatest French writer of the century by the literary cognoscenti. "You have to let other people be right," was his answer to their insults. "It consoles them for not being anything else." Know that joy is rarer, more difficult, and more beautiful than sadness. Once you make this all-important discovery, you must embrace joy as a moral obligation. We prefer to go to fond and distort it all our lives rather than not resemble the portrait of ourselves which we ourselves have first drawn. It's absurd. We run the risk of warping what's best in us. What would a narrative of happiness be like? All that can be described is what prepares it, and then what destroys it. The most decisive actions of our life, I mean those that are most likely to decide the whole course of our future, are, more often than not, unconsidered. The truth is that as soon as we are no longer obliged to earn our living, we no longer know what to do with our life and recklessly squander it. The most important things to say are those which often I did not think necessary for me to say because they were too obvious. Art begins with resistance at the point where resistance is overcome. No human masterpiece has ever been created without great labor. In order to be utterly happy, the only thing necessary is to refrain from comparing this moment with other moments in the past, which I often did not fully enjoy because I was comparing them with other moments of the future. I am lost if I attempt to take count of chronology. When I think over the past, I am like a person whose eyes cannot properly measure distances and is liable to think things extremely remote which on examination prove to be quite near. The reasons that drive me to write are many, and the most important are the most secret, I think, perhaps most of all this, to put something out of death's reach. The novelist does not long to see the lion eat grass. He realizes that one and the same God created the wolf and the lamb, then smiles, seeing that his work was good. The truth is, I hoped the cure would dislike me. I tried to think of disagreeable things to say to him. I could hit on nothing that wasn't charming. It's wonderful how hard I find it not to be fascinating. They establish distinctions and reserves which I cannot apply to myself, for I exist only as a whole. My only claim is to be natural, and the pleasure I feel in an action I take as a sign that I ought to do it. The very things that separated me and distinguished me from other people were what mattered. The very things no one else would or could say. These were the things I had to say.